So, in my time of doing ecom, I've learned that there is a predictable way to become successful, and it has nothing to do with the strategies and techniques and everything to do with mindset. Last month, one of the stores that I was testing did right around $40,000. Actually, most of that being in the second half of the month. In just about a week of that time, we did $30,000 in revenue. And it was this one simple mindset trick that I used to help me progress and go through the hard times of dropshipping to get to where I am now, consistently doing about 2 to 3K in revenue every single day. I know if you're someone trying to be successful with dropshipping, you're looking for the next strategy and tangible thing to do so you can actually start making money. But before you click on another product research video or how to scale ads, you clicked on this video for a reason, and I think it's a sign for you to kind of spend some time with me and break down some of the mental shifts that you need to actually be successful with dropshipping. Because for a lot of you, there's probably a good chance that you actually already know everything you need to do tactically, but when it comes to the mindset element, that's where you guys struggle a lot. So this is all going to be mindset driven, and one of the first things I want to break down is this very, very important graph called the emotional cycle of change. See, for a lot of us, we go through these different roller coaster experiences whenever trying new businesses or being in the same business. And I think it's important to understand why this is happening and how to know what stage you're in. Because if you can understand the stage you're in right now, it makes going forward a lot easier. So the emotional cycle of change is pretty applicable to most things in life. Stage one is something called uninformed optimism. This is where we know that there's an opportunity out there, but we're not too knowledgeable on it. So we start looking around. For those of you that are scouring on YouTube, looking for the next opportunity, you probably spent a lot of time seeing stuff on social media, on YouTube. I know for me personally, when I first started learning about dropshipping years ago, it was because a ton of 16, 17-year-old kids were flashing their flashy lifestyle and living in high-rise apartments, driving nice cars. So that's that stage of uninformed optimism. You know that there's an opportunity out there, but you're not too knowledgeable about it. Now, what starts to happen is that you get to stage two, which is informed pessimism. So at this stage, you decide to invest into a course, mentor, or maybe just try the challenge on your own. And this is where you start to realize that this goal and this thing that you're chasing is actually much more challenging than you initially thought, right? So a lot of people, unfortunately, especially nowadays, they make these things seem easy. They make it seem like it's easy to be successful with dropshipping. It's easy to make a ton of money and live this fancy lifestyle. And the reality is nothing good comes easy. There's a lot of hard work required to be successful in dropshipping. It took me months of failing and failing and failing to finally get to where I am now. And that's why it's important that you're watching this video, because I didn't really change too much tactically. It was up here that really made the biggest difference. But informed pessimism is where most people start to get ready to drop off. And then stage three is the valley of despair. This is where 90% of people will stop doing what they're doing, give up, and move on to the next thing, or just give up altogether. And this happens because, we thought that it would only require a certain amount of effort and work, but it really requires a lot more. And you kind of start to lose hope in yourself. Like, man, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe the next opportunity will be, or maybe I got in at a bad time. Or for dropshipping specifically, a lot of people say, this is just too saturated now, right? So dropshipping is just too hard. It's not what it used to be. It's way too saturated. I can't find any success with this. And that's why most people give up. But those are the people that become successful. They're the ones that understand that they're in a very difficult time, but don't give up no matter what. And for me, there was plenty of opportunities for me to have given up early in my journey with dropshipping. It was plenty of times. I would build a store that would take me forever. I'd launch the ads the next day. On day one of the ads, it would look good, and day two would look good, but day 3, 4, and 5, unprofitable, and I have to do it all over again. There were some times where I'd launch a product, and that product would do good for a week straight. Right? For a week straight, I'm profitable. I'm doing about $100 to $200 a day in profit every single day. And then come the start of the next week, boom, falls off a cliff. It was so frustrating because I was spending hours building a new store, spending hours doing research, spending hours creating my ads or launching them, and doing everything I thought I was supposed to be doing, right? I watch all these YouTube videos. I see all these gurus say the same thing: find a product, build a store, and launch ads. I do exactly everything everyone else is saying, and for some reason it wasn't working for me. That's what I kept telling myself for months, until I started to realize that what I was going through was important to the character development, important to the journey, because the truth of the matter is, whatever amount of work you think it's going to take to get the goal you want, it's going to take 10 times more than that, right? If you think you can get your dream body in the gym in like, I don't know, 2, 3 months, it's probably gonna take twice as long to get your actual dream body, maybe even 3 times as long in that case, you know? So the truth of the matter is we go into certain challenges with uninformed, or sorry, to be specific, informed pessimism, where it's like, all right, we know there's a lot of work involved, and we a lot of times let other things in our lives become the main focus, right? We start letting excuses come, and that's why most people fall down in the valley of despair. Now, stage 4 is that informed optimism. For those of you smart enough to keep pushing through despite not knowing what's on the other side, right? Because there's plenty of times where I was like, man, I'm going in more debt here. I'm racking up the credit card bill. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know that there's only one way to success, and it's through this difficult time that I'm going through. So I just kept pushing it. I didn't know what my next product was going to be. I didn't know which one's going to finally make me money, but I just knew if I keep trying, that's the only way I could be successful. So that's when I continued, and that's when informed optimism starts to hit. Then you start to get a couple of consecutive wins. Right now, the store, instead of lasting for only a week, now I have a store that lasts for 2.5 weeks. And it's like, okay, I'm starting to see more progress now. I'm starting to build stores a little faster, find winning products a little easier. And then that's when you get to stage 5, which is success and fulfillment, when you really, really push through it all and you finally start seeing the other side. You're starting to actually make good money doing what you're doing. So this is important because most people, they don't realize that there is always room for improvement, which is important, but you have to really get good at understanding what's going to actually push you forward in whatever business or challenge in life that you're going to do, right? Like, to use the gym as an example again. When it comes to going to the gym, the real thing that you need to focus on is eating healthy and lifting heavy. But a lot of beginners, especially ones that are uninformed, they'll start the challenge of going to the gym and they'll start worrying about all these other things. What supplements should I take? What clothes do I need to wear? Do I need to buy any gym equipment? What type of split should I follow? They start worrying about all these other things that can be important depending on where you are in your journey. But initially, you need to just focus on the things that actually matter, like getting in a consistent routine, getting good sleep, and eating enough food, right? Enough of the right food. So with that in mind, the same thing happens with dropshipping. Right? People come in, they're like trying to figure out what color palette should I use, what software should I use to help find that winning product. Should I use TikTok ads, Facebook ads, Snapchat ads, Google ads? What should I? They start worrying about all these things, and then even if they start to get a little farther in their journey, they start focusing and putting their attention on everything else that doesn't really matter as much as they think it does. And that is one of the biggest things that I started to realize. Like, I'm putting so much weight and pressure on the store color, and if my store has this type of font and all this stuff that doesn't really matter, focusing on the things that won't really push the business forward. So it can be exhausting, but it's so, so important. And you won't believe how many times this has happened to so many dropshippers where they become super impatient. They become super frustrated, and rightfully so, right? It's tough doing this, right? Spending money and having to start over and over and again. But the biggest thing that I can tell you is that there requires a certain level of patience that is super, super important to be successful with this. And there's so many times where people are just like this man here, digging through the cave, looking for diamonds, and they turn around right before they hit their big jackpot. In fact, the campaign that's doing really well for me now, the first week of running this campaign, my ads did not perform at the level I thought they should or could. They were either break even or losing money. I think one day was profitable, and it was profitable for like $4 or $5. It wasn't even that profitable. And I kept going because I understood what mattered, which was certain metrics like ad performance, add to carts, right? Buyer's intent was there. Most people look at that though, because they see themselves losing money on, 1 or 2 days of losing money. They just say that's enough and they'll turn it off. So it's these types of mental cues that are so important to be successful long term, because without this, it doesn't matter what technique you use, it doesn't matter how good your store looks, doesn't matter how good your product is. One of the biggest reasons why people fail is because they do not stick with it long enough. They do not stick with it long enough. Now, with that being said, there are some other things that are super important too, right? To guarantee the success of dropshipping, you have to first find and understand that there are no guarantees, right? You can't, at the end of the day, no matter how hard you try, there's some things that will work and some things that won't, right? So I like to use this example. You'll watch a tutorial on how to do something, right? But when you do it for whatever reason, it doesn't work the same. I used to hate doing that. I'd watch a tutorial on how to fix this door jam or something like that, or how to install something. And in the video, they'll say, step one, do this, step two, do this, and step three, do this. For some reason, step one and two worked fine, but then I get to step three, that button isn't there, or that whatever feature isn't working the same. And it can be very frustrating because you're saying to yourself, man, I'm doing exactly what everyone else is saying. Why is it not working for me? But that's quite literally the reality of the situation. You have to get good at critical thinking skills and resolving problems on your own, right? And that's the faster you learn how to do that, the faster you're going to be more successful, right? Nowadays, pretty much everyone knows what dropshipping is, right? There's so much information out there to understand the nuances of the game. But what really becomes important is understanding how to fill in between the lines and know how to troubleshoot and resolve problems in real time. Okay, so here's some tangible things to keep in mind. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find what works and slightly improve it. That's the biggest advice. Is like when I first started, I'm like, you know what? This product looks really cool. Or I'll use my emotion a lot of times. I'm like, I think this product could do really well. It doesn't matter what I think. I'm not selling to myself. I'm selling to a consumer, a bigger audience of people that have a bigger problem that I can't really understand to its fullest degree. So don't reinvent the wheel. Find what works and resell it. Don't overthink and spend time worrying about shit that does not matter. This is, if I can go back 6-7 months ago, I would tell myself this. Don't overthink things, right? You'd be surprised how simple-minded people are in buying mode, right? Consumers are very, very easy to get them to buy stuff, especially if it solves a problem. You don't have to overthink all the nuances, especially in the beginning. And then execute with speed. Nowadays, I do product research, launch, and test a store within 24 hours. So I can find a product that I want to test and have it up and running by tomorrow. So this used to take me like a couple of days. And I know a lot of beginners that takes them a whole week just to launch a store. So execute with speed, be decisive, and be intentional. But also just understand that when you're testing in the beginning, it's just about getting proof of concept first.